G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. Today's episode continues on of this little theme that he's starting to develop with this podcast, which is something called positivity. How good. The last few episodes have been quite, they've had quite the hopeful sort of angle to them, and this episode is going to be exactly the same. How good is that? Good news to report. I love it. But with all good things, there's always little disclaimers, isn't there? That's just part of life. And part of this disclaimer for this particular episode centers around this sort of siege mentality. So lately there's been a new cognition jumping in. Instead of you're not good enough to do that, you should be doing that, you should be doing this, the inner critic sort of stuff. There's this new cognition that says, Elliot, you are worthy. And it might not sound like much, but it has taken years of therapy and so many medications to get to the point where we can say, no, Elliot, you deserve better. You are worthy. Sounds simple, but it is really life-changing in the sense that my whole mentality is shifting. And instead of just, feeling like we make up the numbers and that our purpose is to help other people with their purpose, it's more now about as well, I still want to help other people, but there is that definite new angle to the way I'm perceiving the world and operating in it, which is that I am worthy of good things too. And that is a massive, massive shift. And as I said, it's taken a lot of therapy, it's taken a lot of medications, it's taken a lot of meditating on this idea that I am actually worthy and deserve good things in life. So there you go. That is some real positivity to report. The only little issue is that it's very much, I've got this sort of siege mentality, and it's good that I've got insight that I've got it because I need to sort of nullify it. Because it is positive in a sense, but it's really not in a way that we want to sort of proceed. And that is the siege mentality, which is telling us that the world is against us. Not only are we worthy, but the other people in the world are working against us and stopping us from achieving what we need to achieve. Now, that's not true, but that is part of this new mentality thing. I've got to keep some checks on it because, I'm driven a lot by emotion, especially negative emotion. So what I've sort of done recently is, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit angry at the way that things have turned out for me. I feel like I deserve better, not to be given to me, of course. You've got to work hard for those things, whatever it is that you define as successful. But there is that old adage of the more you put in, the more you get out. And I feel like I've put a lot in and I haven't really got much out. So this is what I've sort of done. I've sort of looked at my thoughts and decided, right, we need to be driven here to do better things. Like we need some inspiration. And what I've done is grab this negative, angry emotion because anger is a very, what's the word? How would you describe it? Affirmative sort of emotion, like it drives you to action. Anger drives you to action. Now, when it's harnessed correctly, it can drive you to some great, great things. But when it's not, that's when you become destructive or other people become destructive towards you and you back to them. And that's when all the big troubles happen. But if you can control your anger and channel it in a way that is positive, it's a really, really good motivator. And that's sort of what I've been trying to do. But it's very hard to keep a lid on anger. So it's a very dangerous emotion and you got to really be careful. And that's what I need to be careful of because this siege mentality that I've sort of built up, that the world's against me and everyone in it and it's us against everyone. It's okay in the interim, I would say, but we don't want to be thinking that long term because people aren't actually against us. And the idea is that we don't do anything untoward to other people and the good things will come. And that's still the plan. But there you go. There's a bit of insight. Using anger for good, but you've got to be careful because if anger gets out of control, really bad things can happen. But it's true. I have this edge to me that I haven't had for so long. Like this, and it's been sustained. I've said a couple episodes back, I said how there were glimpses of the potentiality of what we're doing. There were glimpses of the good things and the great feelings. Well, we're not just getting glimpses, we're actually getting sustained feelings of this edge and this sort of, attack mode. Let's go get all, the things we want to achieve in life. Let's go get them. Don't sit around and wait. Just go. Action. And that's really good. That is something that I really, really have desperately needed. And I'm so happy that we're at the point now where that is starting to become second nature. We just do believe that we deserve good things, and we're more than willing to work hard to get them. And that's really exciting because I actually have this belief now, which was lacking before. You go back to some of the episodes like a year ago, you can just hear it in my voice. There's not much hope there. There's not much, there's no idea of what's coming in the future and the good things that can come if we work hard towards it. There's just none of that. I was just sort of, being pushed to and fro by my negative emotions, and that was it. Whereas now, like I said, we've got the negative emotion in check at the moment. Just got to keep on top of it. But we do, and we're doing it and using it for good. And it's very, very exciting. It's very exciting. I don't know. Is this what people do? Is this what other people feel like without mental illnesses? I don't know. This is a great feeling, but I don't know. Is it sustainable? Not sure, but we'll find out. That's for sure. So anyway, that's the good news there. There's a bit more good news coming too, but I'll say that in future episodes. But like I said, we're working hard. There's some exciting opportunities coming up, and it's really, really, it's really exciting. It's great. So, fingers crossed. I don't want to remember my OCD. If I tell you all my plans, it all falls apart, and that's sort of what happened with my previous therapy job. Yeah, so we're going to hold on just a little bit longer before maybe I talk about some of the things coming up, because there is still that OCD element that's saying, Elliot, as soon as you mention it out in the external environment, it's going to fall over. And I really don't want that to happen. I really don't want to feed my OCD unnecessarily. That's for sure. So anyway, that'll probably do for today. I'm just sitting here. I'm on location. I'm back in my car again recording because, I don't want people listening and all that sort of stuff. The social anxiety component is still there. So we're back in the car recording. But I'm overlooking Merriweather Beach here in Newcastle. It is beautiful. The waves are rolling in, the seagulls, the sand. It's all happening. It's a really nice setting to do a podcast episode on mental health. That's what I reckon, because after all, being near the ocean and nature and all that sort of stuff, animals, it's really good for your mental health, and that is exactly why I'm here. I'm going to be doing some meditating shortly on the sand, so I better get going. Thank you as always for listening, and I'll see you next time here on the Dysregulated podcast.